Hello everyone. Welcome to the first session of Matrices. My name is Srinivas Akapedi. I'm going to take you through the basics of matrices in this video, and I'm going to make a series of about 10 or 12 videos to ensure that various concepts which are required for students who are preparing for IPM Indore with respect to the topic of matrices are covered. The purpose of these lectures is to ensure that whether you're a student who learned matrices sometime back in your school or a student who left maths, but now you are in need for matrices because of the entrance exams that you're going to write, doesn't matter. I'm going to make sure that all kinds of students will be able to understand the concepts of matrices very, very easily. All right, so let's start by introducing a little bit about myself. As I said, my name is Srinivas. I'm one of the chief mentors of Career Launcher Bangalore. I'm basically a mechanical engineer from IIT Dhanbad. It was called Indian School of Mines, that is ISM Dhanbad, sometime back. It has been converted into an IIT. I have done my MBA from IIM Indore. In fact, I have graduated in the year 2010. So in that way, I'm very, very glad to be helping out students who want to get into IIM Indore. And I wish all of you the best of the luck so that you can actually become my super juniors. I've been training students for various entrance exams over the last 14 years. With that note, let me start off with the topic of matrices. Let us first understand why is this topic or how much of the topic is important to us. If you notice, I have made a list of all the topics that come under the concept of higher math. Okay, so these are the topics which come under the concept of higher math. This does not include all the topics of maths which is required for IPMAT Indore. Now, in this 2019 question paper and 2020 question paper, when you notice, the total number of questions in 2019 were 60 and the total number of questions in 2020 were 30. Now, this 60, as you all know, is broken up into 20 questions of short answer and 40 questions of MCQ. In 2020, because of the COVID, the time duration of the exam of IPMAT Indore was reduced. And the total number of questions from maths were reduced to half. So 60 became 30 total. So the 20 short answer became 10 short answer. And the 40 MCQ became 20 MCQ. That's what basically happened. Now, I made a list of the topics, as I mentioned, which fall under the category of higher math. And if you notice, matrices has one of the highest number of questions when it comes to topic-wise distribution. So you can see the highest is in logarithms, matrices, as well as coordinate geometry. In the year 2020 also, these three topics occupy the same percentage in terms of the number of questions that are coming out of 30. Right? So that way you can definitely say that logarithms, matrices, and coordinate geometry form three very important topics under higher maths for your IPMAT Indore. We will start with matrices because it's one of the important topics, as I already mentioned. So let's understand what is the meaning of a matrix. Well, certainly I'm not referring to the movie, not Morpheus or Neo. The matrix that I'm talking about is basically an arrangement of numbers in rows and columns. So if you notice, a set of numbers written in neat rows and columns, which are enclosed in a square bracket, as you can see, this is called as a matrix. So the horizontal lines, these are the rows. The vertical lines, these are the columns, right? So let's take an understanding, or let's try to understand how is a matrix called, or how do you name a matrix? The naming of a matrix is done based on the number of rows it has and the number of columns it has, right? So it is actually written as the rows cross columns, or the cross sometimes is also called, it's called as by, by. So it is rows by columns. What does it mean? Let's take an example. So I have an example here, a matrix, which is -2, 3, 10, 0, 5, 9. As you can see, the matrix is represented by a capital letter A in this case. Usually matrices are represented by capital alphabets. And the dimension of a matrix is nothing but the number of rows and the number of columns written on the right hand side bottom outside the bracket. So the number of rows comes first, by or cross the number of columns comes second. So these are your rows, 2 rows, and these are your columns, 3 columns. Hence the matrix is 2 by 3 matrix. It is a 2 by 3 matrix. Every number in the matrix is called as an element. Every number in the matrix is called as an element. So if I write A2, 3, what does it represent? What does it represent? 2, 3. If you notice, it is comma, it's not into. So when I write 2, 3, I'm actually referring to the second row, third column, 2, 3, row and column. So the common of these two is element 9. Similarly, if I write A1, 2, what am I referring to? I am referring to first row and second column, the element 3. So if you want to write a particular element, the way to write it as A row, comma, the column. And the intersection of the row and the column gives you the element that you want. So if I write A1, 3, it is the first row and the third column, which is the element called 10. So this is how you designate elements also, or you write elements also. Okay, so what do we use this matrices for? Obviously, the easiest answer is, well, the IPMAT Indore asks matrices, so you have to study matrices. But what are the other practical uses apart from your entrance exam? Well, the practical uses, there are many uses of matrices. I have mentioned 3 or 4 examples. There are a lot more actually uses of matrices. Let's try to understand what are the basic uses of matrices. As I said, many things. One of the ways in which matrices is used is rotation of vectors. Now, vectors is a complicated area. I'm not getting into it right now. For those of you who understand vectors, there is something called vector rotation. So matrices are useful in rotating vectors. If you don't have any understanding of vectors, don't worry. You don't have to we don't need to use that in our matrices today. We also use matrices in economics. Some of you might be really interested in economics when you take up your graduation or post-graduation. So when you get a lot more in deep in economics, you will be dealing with economic models where you end up using matrices. Another thing where you use matrices is to solve linear equations. So your typical 2 variable, 3 variable equations, one way that you have used in school is elimination of variable x, elimination of variable y, and basically you get your answers. There is another way of solving variables or solving for equations, which is the matrix method. Another example, which is very interesting, is Google uses these matrices in its algorithm for page rank. What is this page rank? I'm sure all of you would have searched in Google some point or the other in life. So when you search in Google search, you get a list of pages. Now the pages are arranged according to the ranking which Google gives them based on the word that you search. For example, if you search matrix, you'll have millions of pages. But there is a reason why one page is coming first for you, then the next page is second, next page is third. This first, second, third order is called as a rank. So to rank these pages, there are millions of pages available. Google has its own patented algorithm. A part of the algorithm is use of matrices. So as I said, there are multiple such uses of matrices. We are concerned only with one of the ways of using matrices as far as our entrance exam preparation go. We are going to use matrices to solve system of linear equations, or at least in the next 1 or 2 videos, we are going to understand how to solve simple linear equations using matrices. But before getting into solving of matrices, first let us try to understand how do you represent a system of linear equations. So what is a system of linear equations? Two variable equations or three variable equations, a group of such equations is called as a system. System is nothing but a group. The group is two equations, three equations, four equations, any number of equations, right? So the format in which the equation should be given to you is LHS equal to your constant, where LHS should have your variables. LHS should have your variables. Right hand side should always be your constant number. This is the format in which the equation should be given to you, right? So if it is not given to you in this format, for example, if you have 2x plus 3y minus 10 equal to 0, first convert it as 2x plus 3y equal to 10. Always bring it in this format, then only proceed. Now proceed to do what? So you have to form a matrix from this pair of equations given. That's what you're supposed to do. So let us see how do we do that, right? So you take the first column, which is effectively the coefficients of variable x. That becomes your column number 1 in your matrix. The coefficients of y, including the positive or negative signs, will become the second column in your matrix. The constants that are on the right hand side become the column number 3 in a matrix. So effectively your matrix becomes like this. Your 2 and 3 first column, 3 and minus 5 second column, 10 and 20 third column. Let's take another example very quickly. If I have 3x minus 10 plus 4y equal to 0 and minus 2x plus 5 equal to 6 plus 5y equal to 6. Now if I want to construct a matrix, first thing you have to verify, are they in the format that I want? What is my format? Right hand side should be my constant. So the second equation is correct, but the first equation I will have to rearrange. So what will I get? 3x plus 4y equal to 10 and minus 2x plus 5y equal to 6. Now I have it in the format that I want. This becomes your first column, 3 minus 2. This becomes your second column, 4, 5. This becomes your third column, 10, 6. And then you close your bracket. So this becomes a 2 cross 3 matrix. This is how you create matrices from equations. You have a 3 variable equations, you will still get a matrix out of it. Now what happens in a 3 variable equation? Very quickly, let us say I have 2x plus 3y minus z equal to 10, minus x plus 4y plus 2z equal to 20, 3x minus 2y plus 5z equal to 45. So I will get my matrix as 2 minus 1, 3, 3, 4 minus 2, minus 1. Please make sure that the sign is taken care of. Minus 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, 45. So you will get a matrix which is having 3 rows and 4 columns. So this is how you create a matrix from a given system of linear equations. In the next class, we will learn few more basics. For now, that's all there is from my side. Thank you guys. You can reach out to me on these in the mail. You can mail me or you can use WhatsApp to ask your queries. I'm always there and glad to help you guys out. Thank you. Have a good day or a good night if you're watching this in the night.